moment, and in his conversation could not help unconsciously reflecting it. I never met a man who could talk Meredith conversation so well as he could. With all this came an indescribable charm of manner. When people were attracted to West, and as time went on they became more and more attracted, they would have found it difficult to say what it was they liked in him. He had no outstanding qualities to win you. He was not preeminently witty, generous, genial, or hospitable. He knew few anecdotes and never told them. Perhaps it was more than anything else by all the things that he was not that he charmed. He was so devoid of push and advertisement, so quiet, tranquil, and unassuming, so eminently companionable, and above all, such a good listener, that though these things did not constitute his charm, they went some way to explain it. He had a great love for beauty in whatever form it came to him. Before he left Oxford, he became a really good judge of most things that attract the eye. He knew much of pictures, furniture, china, and would in time have become a connoisseur. His early predilection for caterpillars developed into a great liking for the country, for spring, for autumn, and the changing seasons. Summer, however, always seemed to him dull. I have spoken of him as conspicuously unathletic. He was, but he was a great walker. He prided himself, towards the end of his Oxford time, on his autarkia, his self-sufficiency, which never became self-complacency, and on his lack of dependence upon others. He would go off for prodigious walks by himself lasting the whole day through, or paddle in a lonely canoe far up the unfrequented upper river. He was, at least until the war came, one of those few people who really liked being alone, not so much because other people bored him, as because he did not bore himself. He was, in fact, sufficiently valuable to be able to stand his own company. But he had none of the more endearing vices. He could never master a pipe. He never got drunk. I am speaking of before the war. Beer was a closed book to him, and so were cards. Also, he had never heard any music. He was just coming to music when the war took him. When the war broke out, it left him for some little time untouched. He had got so detached from the world, he scarcely ever read a paper, that it took some time for the war to shake him back into it. He went back to Oxford for the autumn of 1914, his 5th year, with the intention of reading English literature. He found that all his friends had gone, and that his boasted autarkia had forsaken him. Oxford was buzzing like a great hive with war preparations, and his poem, The Owl Abashed, shows how even at Oxford the spell began to weave itself around him. In the Christmas vacation the infection took him. He applied for a commission in a rush of enthusiasm, was turned down for his eyes, and enlisted as a private in the public schools battalion. From that time until his death in April 1917, his life was a succession of training in England and trenches in France, with short intervals of leave. In November 1915 he crossed to France, thence to the front. In 4 months he was home again and on his way to Scotland, where he was trained for an officer until August 1916, when he had a few weeks' leave preparatory to going to the front. Most of this leave was spent at Box Hill in Surrey, and it was there that the complete change of attitude to the war described in Part 3 of the diary took place. In September 1916 he went to France with a commission, and was out there continuously until his death. It is difficult to describe with any exactness the effect of the army on a man like West, nor is it very necessary to do so, for the extracts speak for themselves. A few things, however, must be said. West joined the army from a feeling of duty, and, in the best sense of the word, of patriotism. Violence of any kind was abhorrent to his nature.